You've built the world. You've prepped the monsters. You've painted the minis. And 5 minutes into the session, someone's on their phone. Someone else is talking about pizza. And 40 minutes into it, the third player that's playing with their dice walks up and starts randomly looking into your pantry. Sound familiar? Well, today on the Bearded Nerd Podcast, I'm giving you 5 practical tips to keep your players engaged, immersed, and focused on whether you're running a crunchy combat crawl or whether you are running a political intrigue campaign. Your table will benefit from these 5 tips. And if your table sometimes feels more like a cafeteria than a campaign, this one's for you. So with that being said, let's dive into it. First and foremost, we need to know the root of disengagement. Before fixing it, we need to understand why your players are tuning out. And there are some questions that we need to ask ourselves and ask the party. Number 1, do they feel included in the current scene or in the current arc of the story? Do they know what their character wants? And are they sure or are they clear on the stakes at hand? And then lastly, are they okay? Not just the characters. I'm talking about the players. Is real life bleeding into the game night or into the game nights? Do they have low energy, distractions, whatever it may be? Are they okay? Engagement starts before dice hit the table. It starts with a purpose. So, as a bonus, before you even implement the tips, have a conversation. Talk to your players. Be casual about it. Hey, y'all, how's everyone's week going? Did you all have a good week? Did you have a rough spot? Are you stressed out? Talk to me. Tell me. We're friends. We can talk and have these conversations. And then you can talk about what you're seeing. Hey, I've been wondering if you all feel included in the scene or included in the story. I'm wondering if your character knows what they want, or do you know what the stakes are right now? I feel, or I am observing, that there's a bit of distraction here at the table, and I want to make sure that as your game master, I'm doing my best to run an excellent game for you all. Something simple like that. And obviously, you can implement whatever sort of conversation that you would like. But the point is, initiate conversation. Choose your own words, but initiate it. Now, for tip number 1, the actual tip that I recommend besides communication, but after communication, rotate the spotlight. Be intentional about it. Don't just hope that it balances out. Plan for it. For me, I always like to ask every character, or every player character, the question, how is your character responding? Or what is your character doing right now? How is your character dealing with this? What are their intentions? What would you like to do? Very straightforward. And I pick each person at the table and ask them that question. I give them about 20 minutes or so to tell me, 15 if I have a big table. They tell me what they want to do. We role play. We explore. We kind of do all those things. And then I shift it to the next person. And I use what I like to call scene shifts to move between the characters regularly. For example, the cleric is seen praying at the temple of their god. Hey, cleric, while you're in the middle of prayer, what would you like to do? Is there a specific prayer? Is there a specific thing that you would like to do? Maybe even back it up and say, hey, cleric, you're in the temple of your god. What would you like to do? And then focus on them. And then I scene shift to say, while the cleric is at the temple, the bard is playing their musical instrument at the town square. Hey, bard, what would you be observing at the moment while you're singing? Are you just trying to entertain people? Would your character try to do this? Or again, hey, bard, you're in the town square. What would you like to do? Things like that, right? Invite them and provide that time for them to be in the spotlight. And kind of tagging onto this, let the quieter players roll certain skill checks to bring them to the forefront. Help them get involved by giving them the opportunity to make decisions or reveal something through the rolls. For example, let's say you have a really quiet rogue at the table and you want them to be more involved. Well, let's say that in order to do that, you give them a couple of rolls or skill checks to make, which then helps them make decisions and helps the party make decisions, which then reveals some sort of lore or some sort of information. That player is going to feel not called out, but they're going to feel included. And that's what we want. So again, rotate the spotlight. Number 2, use the character bonds that they've created to then create hooks. What do I mean? Tie sessions directly to the PC's backstories. Let's say a villain or a mob boss or whatever leaves behind a symbol and only one of those characters recognizes it. Perhaps you have a faction hiring the party, but the bard's ex is leading the faction. And guess what? That faction head is a childhood friend of the paladin, right? So whatever it may be, you can kind of create some sort of bonds and some sort of hooks, which will then implement it will implement rather a sense of, hey, I'm including everyone without making it feel forced, right? So using those character bonds can really engage your players. A great example you could even utilize is as you read the letter, you realize it's signed by your brother. But didn't your brother pass away 10 years ago? Which then kind of raises the eyebrow for the wizard, let's just say, who recognizes their brother's handwriting. And it's fresh ink, and it is a fresh piece of parchment. So what's going on? And again, makes the players think. It gets them involved. And I spoke about this earlier regarding inviting the players in. Well, that's the third tip. Ask questions that invite the players in to make decisions. Don't just info dump, prompt them. So instead of saying, hey, you see a ruined temple, which again, it's a little too specific, give them this. The temple's shape reminds you of an old story that your Nana used to tell you. And they may say, wait a minute. What story did my Nana tell me? Then you can say, roll a history check. They roll the skill check and you provide them that information. Your Nana told you about a prophecy from old times ago that the temple would be rebuilt in X amount of years and XYZ things would happen. I don't know. It's your game. But you get my meaning. You can roll with it and you can start inviting them into that more actively. It draws the players into the fiction rather than just them watching it unfold. It's the difference between active and passive. From there, I highly recommend giving everyone a role. Now, this really helps in combat situations. This really does great work for avoiding dead turns. So, layer your combat goals. Your goals, which you can absolutely state, you don't have to keep these secret. You can role play and narrate all you want. And once the scene is set, you can say, hey, y'all, this is what's going on. These are your goals. You have to protect the cleric because they're the ones healing you. You have to stop the ritual summoning that the baddies are doing and rescue the hostages. Here you go. That way, you give them, you're clear with them, you're transparent, and you tell them what is going to be the goal, what is going to be the measurement of success, so to speak, and you go forward. Why does this work? It's because D&D and most RPGs stem from war games. In wargaming, there is a clear-cut goal, or there are several objectives that you as a player are trying to achieve and to obtain. So it's okay to say, hey, these are your combat goals. You want to do this, that, and the other. That allows your players to make decisions and start becoming active. From there, to keep them peppered in and keep them alive, or keep that notion of intrigue alive, add environmental effects. I've talked about it before. Add falling rocks. Add magical currents that are destabilizing magic items. Maybe there's unstable terrain. Something as simple as, hey, the terrain is uneven and everything moves with difficulty. Something just easy, right? Giving each player a role as well really helps. And the role is it's not just, hey, I deal damage, or hey, I cast a spell. It's encouraging creative role playing and saying, hey, my character is going to hold the iron doors that the goblin or the demon horde is trying to push through. Because I have the highest strength, I'm going to keep all this at bay while you all cast the ritual spell for us to get out of here, right? It's not going to be worth fighting, but if we use our collective strength, we can all be doing that, right? That is active. That is something that your players are actively doing and concentrating while other things are happening. It encourages creative actions. It encourages actual involvement. And lastly, end your sessions with cliffhangers and personal choices. These last two tips act like tinder in a fire. If you've ever been at a bonfire or have had a fire in a fireplace, when the fire is dying down and you don't want it to die down, you can add more coals, you can add more tinder, you can add more logs, depending on the fire that you are witnessing, to keep it going, right? So you want to think of these last two in that perspective. So by ending a session with a cliffhanger, right, like the door creaks open and you recognize the voice from your dream, that's a really good cliffhanger. Or a personal choice. Hey, the Duke offers you a title, or your party a title for saving the land, but only one of you in the party can accept it, right? That is really good to utilize because it's an easy way to maintain player interaction. They can't wait for the next time that you sit down and play. And as a secondary bonus, you can also keep everything alive via Discord. Set yourself up a server that will allow you to role play and to do downtime activities and all this other fun stuff. And I guarantee by implementing those 5 plus a bonus or 2, you will see some dramatic changes. And again, I want to emphasize, player engagement isn't about spectacle. It's about inclusion. Include those players. Every time a player feels seen, heard, or involved, they are invested. It's why we utilize world building tips and keeping them invested. It's why we do co-world building, right? We're keeping them invested in the game and in the story. So use these 5 tips to keep your table focused, energized, and hungry for more story. And remember, sometimes the quietest player has the most to say if you give them space to say it. If this episode helped you refocus your table, comment down below, leave a 5-star review, and share it with your fellow GMs and party members. And if you want the printable checklist version of these tips, plus bonus prep materials, join us over at the Guildhall on Patreon. Until next time, keep the dice rolling, keep your players laughing. If your players are having fun, that's a big part of it, and that's what we're here for. And most importantly, y'all, keep gaming.